Hello, everyone. Today mark the 76th anniversary of the signing of Panglong Agreement. It was signed in 1947 February 12th. This is one of the most important historical moments for Myanmar. This agreement is one of the most important agreements of our independent declaration. It was based upon federal democratic principles and values. If the implementations of Panglong Agreement took place 76 years ago, we will not see this horror of crimes against humanity, atrocities, and war crime. But the successive dictatorships in Myanmar have completely failed to implement Panglong Agreement signed 76 years ago. If we look at the historical movements of political changes around our region, Hong Kong have lived under British for many years. They live under the rule of one country, two systems, and flourish. The same Singapore have been flourishing in our continent as one of the richest nations of city-state. Why I talk about Singapore and why I'm talking about here Hong Kong? There's a reason. Chin State is one of the signatories of Panglong Agreement. Shan State, the same, and Kachin State. Let me tell you here. If we compare Singapore, the size of Singapore with the size of Chin State is 50 times bigger than Singapore. The same, Kachin State is 122 times bigger than Singapore. And the Shan State is 214 times bigger than Singapore. If this Chin State, Kachin State and Shan State and the rest of the states and region in Myanmar were granted federal democracy as signed in Panglong Agreement, Chin State could have been like Hong Kong. Shan State could have been prosper like Singapore. The same Kachin State could have been enjoy peace and prosperity like Singapore. That's the reason. In fact, Singapore get independent in 1965. And this Panglong Agreement of Independent Declaration was signed in 1947. But now, if you look at Hong Kong, I'm talking about before 1997 of headover of Hong Kong. We cannot even compare now, where Hong Kong became one of the richest regions in the continent. But like a Chin State and Korean State, and Shan State and the rest regions in Myanmar become the poorest in the region, the poorest state in the region. Myanmar as a country was one of the richest country, and in fact it was the rice bowl of Asia. But now Myanmar became the poorest country on earth. Why? It's because of the failure of democracy and federalism in Myanmar, the failure to implement Panglong Agreement. It has failed for the last 76 years. We do not need to look far. If we look at Bangladesh, our neighbor, they get the independence only in 1971. Now, if you compare Bangladesh and Myanmar, now we are very far in terms of prosperity, in terms of economic. It's totally unacceptable. Dear friends, Panglong Agreement was the agreement of Federal Democratic Union. The agreement was signed under federal democracy principles and values. Instead of implementations of Panglong Agreement, the last 76 years, the dictatorships in Myanmar have been attacking democracy and federalism for the last 76 years. They want to replace freedom with tyranny. They want to replace federal democracy with military dictatorship. And Panglong Agreement was signed on the base of self-determination. Instead of implementations of self-determination, successive dictatorships in Myanmar have spent 76 years of destroying the remains of self-determination. Before we became under British rule, we have our own self-determination. We never were ruled by any outsiders. Let us be very clear. And they have attacked our basic and fundamental freedom and destroy. Now, not only they just attack, they take away our self-determination by committing crime against humanity, against our people. That's why now these perpetrators, dictators, are facing the trial in ICJ and ICC. Dear friends, Panglong Agreement was very, very important for each and every one citizens of my country, because Panglong Agreement was based on self-autonomous. That means having autonomy, almost like the principle in Hong Kong of one country, two systems. But all were taken away again by successive brutal dictatorships in Myanmar. Example, in Chin State, from where I came, we have got the chief of Chin. Before the British came, the chief were the ruler of the land. They protect the land, they defend the land. There's autonomy, total independent autonomy. But now we lost all of those autonomy because of the failure of implementation of Panglong Agreement. And this successive military dictatorship attack directly to our way of life of autonomous. In fact, Panglong Agreement was signed on the basis of equality. It was signed that the resources of the country will be shared equally, regardless of race, religious, culture, and ethnicity. Instead of sharing the resources of the country richness and build schools and roads and hospitals and build healthcare educations for the people, successive brutal military dictatorship have stolen all the wealth of the country richness. They went to China, they went to Russia, and they buy mass and destruction weapons, battlefield weapons, and declare the war on the people of Myanmar. And recently you saw 2021, 1st of February, they discharged battlefield weapons across the nations, again take a sovereign power from the hand of the people of Myanmar. But the brave people of Myanmar have not given up on federal democracy principle. 76 years has passed. The people of Myanmar commitment to democracy and freedom remain strong and unshakable. As you see, Myanmar issue has been so much forgotten internationally, and it's very sad, in fact, because the people of Myanmar and the people of Ukraine are fighting for freedom and democracy. And the people of Myanmar are facing Russian weapons for the last 24 months. The same, the people of Ukraine are facing Russian battlefield weapons the last 12 months. For Myanmar people, 24 months now. And for Ukraine people, 12 months. But if you look at the response of international community, especially to the crisis in Myanmar, it's different. And Myanmar issue has been so much forgotten. I really hope and pray and also appeal to international community, please don't forget us. The people of Myanmar need your prayer and your support. As international community have been standing up together in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, we hope and pray the international community will solidarity and stand together with the people of Myanmar as well. And the approach and apply by international community to Ukraine crisis has to be the same approach and apply as to Myanmar crisis, because the issue are the same. The issue is the issue of humanity. The issue is the issue of humanitarian. The issue is the issue of freedom versus tyranny and federal democracy versus dictatorship. But at the end, justice will prevail, and peace will prevail, democracy and freedom will prevail. Dear friends, it has been 76 years that the people of Myanmar have been facing this tyranny. It's 76 years the people of Myanmar facing this crime against humanity, torture, rape, forced labor, attack. Only the last 24 months, we have faced the attack by the military of Burma. more than 9,000 times, pour upon the civilians by using Russian weapon of fighter jets, air force power. More than 3,000 civilians have been killed. More than 20,000 civilian innocent have been illegally arrested, including our president, elected president, Mr. Wu Mint, and our state councilor, Dr. Aung San Suu Kyi. Moreover, they have totally destroyed church, schools, community centers, and homes, more than 36,000 properties. It's unimaginable. The pain of the people of Myanmar have been so much for so long. The suffering have been so much for so long. That's why now the people of Myanmar stood up together in united struggle for their freedom and democracy. It's known as Spring Revolution. This Spring Revolution is to end this reign of terror. This revolution is to make conclusions of enough is enough to this crime against humanity. The people of Myanmar commitment to democracy and freedom is unshakable. So many lives, too many lives have been lost. Too much pain and suffering has been instigated upon them. This revolution is the revolution that will end this act of terrorism against the people of Myanmar. And this revolution is the revolution that the 76 years of failure will be done over. This revolution of Spring of Myanmar will give birth to a new country called Federal Democratic Union of Myanmar. It will be a new country, a new future. And the people of Myanmar belong to that future. The future of Myanmar is inclusive. Regardless of race, religion, it will be for all the people of Myanmar. And 76 years of pain and suffering has to end now. 76 years of attack on democracy and an attack on freedom, attack on our autonomy, an attack on our self-determination has to be over now. It must stop now. We will never give up. We will never surrender. Justice will prevail. The people of Myanmar belongs to victory. And victory belongs to the people of Myanmar. And the future belongs to the people of Myanmar. The military dictatorship will have no place in our future. Our future is without crime against humanity. Our future is without military dictatorship. Our future is without atrocities. But our future is with peace, with prosperity, with justice, and with freedom. May God bless you. May God bless Myanmar. Yedopo Aoyami. Jesuba.